Hello everybody, and welcome to another math lesson with yours truly, Mr. Roundy. Today's lesson is on dividing fractions. Let's get started. Our objectives for today's lesson are, by the end of this video, you should be able to divide a fraction with another fraction, a whole number, and a mixed number. First off, we've got to look at a quick vocabulary term that's going to help us with dividing fractions. The term is called reciprocal. A reciprocal is two fractions that when multiplied their product is 1. Now in this case we have 3/4 times 4/3 will get us 1, because 3 times 4 is 12 and 4 times 3 is 12. 12 over 12 is the same as 1. Now to find a reciprocal of a fraction, you flip it. So if I have 2/3, I flip it upside down and it becomes 3 over 2. If I multiplied these two together, I would get 1. So the reciprocal of 2/3 is 3 over 2. Now let's look at dividing fractions with fractions. Our example problem is 9/10 divided by 3/8. Now a little quick reminder, the first fraction is our dividend, and the second fraction is our divisor. Step 1 of the process is to find the reciprocal of the divisor, or the second fraction. So in this case, 3/8. I take 3/8 and I flip it upside down, and it becomes 8/3. Now I can move on to step 2. Step 2 says change the divide sign to a multiplication sign. So I go 9/10, change my sign from divide to multiply, and I multiply by 8/3. Step 3 is pretty simple. Multiply the fraction just like we would in a regular multiplication problem. So multiply the numerators, multiply the denominators, and we get 72 over 30. The final step is to check and make sure that our answer is in simplest form, and if it's improper, like it is right here, 72 over 30, we need to change that to a mixed number. So we convert 72 over 30 to 2 and 12/30. The 12/30 will simplify down to 4/10. And our answer is 2 and 4/10. Let's go ahead and look at a practice problem, and we'll do it in real time. In this example, let's divide 3/5 by 2/3. So we're going to start out by doing the first step, which is to take the divisor and find its reciprocal. We do that by flipping it upside down. So instead of 2/3, we get 3 over 2. Now the next step says to change our divide sign to a multiplication sign, and we put our dividend down. Now we have 3/5 times 3/2. Now we multiply. 3 times 3 is 9. 5 times 2 is 10. The last step, we want to check and make sure that our fraction is in simplest form and that it's not an improper fraction. In this case, it is in simplest form and it's not improper. So our answer is 9/10. Next, we're going to look at dividing fractions with whole numbers. So in this case, we have 5/8 divided by 4. Now our first step is to make the whole number a fraction by putting a 1 under it, which we've done in the past. Step 2, we find the reciprocal of the divisor. The divisor is the second fraction in a problem. So in this case, it's 4 over 1. We're going to flip that upside down and our reciprocal becomes 1/4. Step 3, we change our divide sign to a multiplication sign. Now we have 5/8 times 1/4. Step 4, we multiply. So we multiply the numerators together and the denominators together, and we end up with 5 over 32. The final step is, if it's improper, to convert it to a mixed number, and also to make sure it's in simplest form. In this case, it's already in simplest form and it's not improper. So our answer is 5 over 32. Let's go ahead and get some more practice. For our example problem, let's go ahead and try 7/8 divided by 5. First, we need to make our 5 into a fraction by putting a 1 under it. Next, we take it, the divisor, and we find the reciprocal. So we flip it upside down and it becomes 1/5. We change our divide sign to a times sign, and our problem is now 7/8 times 1/5. I times the numerators together. 7 times 1 is 7. I do the denominators. 8 times 5 is 40. The last thing I need to do is check to see if my answer is in simplest form. 7/40 is simplest form and it's not improper, so this is our final answer, 7/40. Next, let's look at dividing fractions and mixed numbers. Whenever we're working with a problem that has mixed numbers, our first step is to convert the mixed numbers into improper fractions. For this example, 4½ divided by 1/4, we're going to change 4½ into an improper fraction. When I convert that, it turns into 9/2. Now my problem is 9/2 divided by 1/4. The next step is to find the reciprocal of the divisor, or the second fraction. So my 1/4 becomes 4/1. Next, I change the division sign to a multiplication sign. So my problem is now 9/2 times 1 times 4/1. The next step is to multiply the numerators together. 9 times 4 is 36. Then I multiply my denominators together. 2 times 1 is 2. The final step is to convert any improper fraction back to a mixed number and make sure it's in simplest form. When I convert 36/2 into a mixed number, it actually goes perfectly 18 times. So my final answer is 18, with no fraction left over. Let's go ahead and get some practice with this type of problem. For this example, let's do 3 1/6 divided by 3/4. We're going to start out by converting our mixed number into an improper fraction. So I times 6 times 3 is 18, plus 1 is 19. So we have 19/6. My next step, I need to convert my divisor into a reciprocal. So it becomes 4/3 because I flip it upside down. I change my divide sign to a times sign, and I'm now ready to multiply. 19 times 4 is going to get me 76. 6 times 3 is going to get me 18. Now I need to convert my improper fraction into a new mixed number for my answer. So 18 into 76. 18 goes into 76 4 times, which gets me 72. If I subtract, I have 4 left over, which gets me a mixed number of 4 and 4/18. Now I've got to check my fraction to make sure it's in simplest form. I notice that both of these are even. That means they have a common factor of 2. If I divide each by 2, I get a new fraction of 2/9. And my final answer is 4 2/9. Let's go ahead and go back and review our objectives. Today's objectives say that by the end of the video you should be able to divide a fraction with another fraction, a whole number, or a mixed number. We've gone over examples of each of these in the video. If you're having any trouble, review the examples in the video. I'm glad you could watch, and I hope you have a wonderful evening. Goodbye.